Hey, everyone. I took three trades today. Two of them were technically profitable, but I lost money today because I took a significant loss early in the day. So let me show you what I did. The markets were a little bit frustrating today. So the SPY is just screaming higher, and the Qs are also screaming higher. But meanwhile, the stocks that I follow generally were not. They were, struggling or consolidating or whatever. Now, of course, AMD and Intel were both really, really doing well today, but it's very hard to get into that because they gapped up. I have a hard time with gaps. I couldn't find an entry because it just took off right out of the gate and just went higher and higher. So unless you bought, um, calls right on the open, or very, very close to it, then you kind of miss part of the move. So, and meanwhile, it had gapped up already. So, anyway, so I looked for a stock that, again, the market was gapping up, and I'll show you actually. So, let me go to the Qs first. So, here's the Qs, and so this is a closing range from a number of days ago. So this is the closing range from yesterday, and this is a closing range from a few days ago, and this is also a closing range from a few days ago. So that tends to act as resistance. So when the market opened above this closing range, then I figured it was going to go to this closing range. And that's, of course, exactly what it did. And so once it got into here, I was expecting the market to pull back. I expected resistance. I expected this thing to come back down. Of course, it didn't. It just screamed even higher. So I'm really surprised actually how strong the market is today. But in the context of, again, I was expecting this to get into here and then roll over and go back down. So when I was looking at the Apple chart, um, it had broke through yesterday's low. This red line is previous day low. So it went below yesterday's low. Meanwhile, the 8-day moving average is pointing down. And at the time, the 2-day moving average was also pointing down. So it was absolutely a bearish context, made a lower low than this low. So I expected it to come up, hit resistance somewhere, and then roll back over and make a new low. So I started getting in at these low candles here, uh, too optimistic, thinking it was going to break down right away. Of course, it went to the top of the closing range, and I still held on, and I thought it was going to roll over. I let it peak above, and anyway, it just never did. So I think I finally got out way up here. So I took like a $2,300 loss on that trade. Then it started to roll over. Like 10 minutes later, it started to roll over. So that was super frustrating. So I took my position back, the same position I just sold at a loss. I took the same position, actually a slightly bigger position, I think on this candle right here. And then it started, because this was a nice flag. This is a bear flag here. So sure enough, it started going down. I only scaled out once, and then it turned around and came all the way back up. So let me show you the P&L from this. So it's hard to tell exactly what happened because it's this put trade right here. And because I took the same trade, it overlaps the P&L. But I lost like $2,300 on the first trade, and then I made like $100 basically on the second trade. So for a net loss of 2,200, 2,208. And then what I did was, I kind of got, when you start trading a particular security, you kind of become, a little bit familiar with the story of that particular ticker. And you start to understand what's going on. At least I believe that I do. So, and if this pattern didn't go lower, failure to go lower, the pattern did not resolve to the downside, that's really bullish. And so when it came back up here, I got into a position on this candle right here, this green candle. And then, of course, immediately it flushed. So I was a loss. I started scaling in. And then I went through all of this chaos, which took forever. And I scaled in. I took off a position or two. I think, a contract or two up here at this high, and maybe another one here. I forget. I'll show you my executions. And then, came back down again and tested it again. In fact, it's really interesting what happened here because um, we had this flush early. This is the one where I was in this trade short on puts, and then it came back up. And then what did it do when it came back down? It tested the low bear. So that's the low bear candle right there. That's the lowest red candle before the up move. And look to the right at where that line is. It literally touched the low bear and then scorched higher. Now, when you see a really impulsive move up like that, that is not a healthy up move. That's likely to get retraced because it's so impulsive off of a low. You want an impulsive move off of like a consolidation or an upper end of the range. When it comes from a low like that, there's very good odds it's going to come all the way back down, and that's what it did. And what did it do? It tested the low bear of this move again. So this is the low bear candle. Now look to the right where my line is. It's exactly where it came down to test the low bear. So it tested this low bear, and then it tested this low bear. And then look at this. We had another one where it came down. Here's the low bear candle, and look to the right where my line is. It came right down exactly to that spot. Again, third time, tested the low bear, and then it continued on its way. So again, these things are very important to know. The low. Some people call it an order block, right? A lot of people call it an order block. I call it the low bear. It doesn't matter. But in any case, it finally started to move, and I started scaling out. Now, it actually went further than I expected. This here is the 15-minute body high of yesterday. It's the opening print of yesterday. So I thought this thing would run out of gas here at the opening print, and I scaled out the last of my positions on this green candle right here. So I did have a nice move, and I made decent money on this move, but it wasn't enough to erase the loss that I took early in the day. So let me show you. So here's the call order here. So, and I made $1,603 on that trade, which is a nice gain, but I couldn't erase the loss that I took earlier on for a net loss on my trading here of $605. So frustrating day, difficult day, took forever, which normally doesn't take this long. So let me show you all my trades. So look at all this. This is so crazy. So here's me scaling in all these puts. Look what I did. I mean, it's embarrassing. I put on all of these puts expecting downside, and nothing came of it. And eventually I sold the whole thing. So that was the loss right there. So here I took back, look at this. I bought 61. I bought 61, but I only paid 43 cents for them. So it didn't cost me that much. But I had 61 contracts, and then got rid of those. And so when let me see if I can follow this here. Where the here's where the calls start. Yeah, so okay, fair enough. So here's where I started buying into the calls. I took some off, bought more calls, and then here is where I finally got to take them off for the profit. So anyway, this is a cluster. I mean, it's ridiculous to try and go through and reverse engineer all of this, but those are my fills for the day. So not very inspiring. Again, if you are interested, today's not a good day for me to demonstrate my expertise, but if you're interested in my approach to trading, how I approach trading and the rules that I follow, go to my channel and watch all the videos that have a yellow dot on the thumbnail. I'm going to put a yellow dot on this one because I think there's some good learning points. Even though I made a loss here, I think there's things that we can all learn. Certainly, I can learn from some of the mistakes I made here, and I hope that you can too. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.